So in today's video, I'm following Anne Brooke's 52-week challenge. And this week she challenged us to do some fly stitching. Now, I had never done this stitching before, so of course I Googled it and I came up with this little template of how to do the stitching. And what I thought I would do is make it look like the ocean, or hopefully look like the ocean. So I just sketched out with a pencil some lines because I want it to look like kelp. I might add some little sequins down here that I have that are seashell, and then I might just stitch a little fish up here. Now what I've done is, to make it a little bit easier, is I have traced out the size of the tag here on my material, then put it into an embroidery hoop, and then took a disappearing ink pen and marked it off. So I know I need to stitch within these boundaries here. These are the colors that I've come up with that I thought resembled the sea, different kinds of blues and greens. So what I'm going to do right now is real quick kind of copy this onto the material with this ink, and then I'll be back with you guys. Okay, I've started my first row of my fly stitch and I used 791, and then I'm going to skip this 797 and I'm gonna go ahead and go with the variegated 121. So I have 3 strands. It's a 6-strand embroidery floss, but I've taken 3 strands, and here's my lines. So I think I'm going to start over here. So I have my, I think I'm going to make that a little bit darker so you can see. So I'm just going to follow this around because it is a disappearing ink. There you go. And so what you do is you come up on one side of the line with your thread, you bring it down, you go through to the other side of where your line is, and then come up right on the line, making sure this thread is underneath the needle. And you pull it through, and that creates a V. And then you come down to make your tail. Now, you can, if you want, not have a tail and just have each stitch right by each other. So then again, I come up, but I'm coming up about midway between this line. Come up, bring my thread down, hold it, go across at about the same distance, and then up right on that line, making sure that my thread is underneath the needle. And then I'm going to bring down my needle, and that gives me my tail. So I'm going to do it one more time. You're going to come up on one side of that thread right there. Bring your thread down and hold it in place. Go at about the same area on the right hand side of that middle thread and come up right on the line that we marked, making sure that your thread is underneath your needle. And that creates kind of like your V. And I might come in and add some more stitches in between there. I think I've said this before, because I'm actually doing this on camera, I can't hold it up to my face as close as I would if I wasn't on camera and see where I'm going. So I'm going to stop the camera right now and finish this, and I'll be back with you guys. Okay, as I was stitching the green, I realized or figured out how to bring these lines. Do you see how the center line, they all connect, but here they don't connect? And again, to me, this is okay because this is to look like kelp in the sea, and kelp in the sea is not perfectly the same. So it's a learning process. So I'm going to teach you what I learned. So we're going to start here on this left-hand side. Again, come up, bring down our thread, go across, and then up where we want our little V to be. And then I'm going to go down right next to that, where that V is. And if I pull on it, it kind of brings that V in there. So then I'm going to come up again on one side of it. Bring it down, go across to the other side, and come up, oops, right where I want my line to be. Then that creates that V right next to that one line. And then if I go down and anchor it, it gives me that longer tail. So again, come up on one side, bring your thread down, go across to the other side, and then when you come up, you're going to come up right where the last thread ended. So right about there, I'm going to try to bring it way, way, way up close so you guys can see it there. Just like that. And I may, as I look through this, when I edit this video, I may have been too far away for you guys to see. So down. Okay. Then we're going to come up on one side, bring our thread down and hold it, go across, and when we go across, we're just going to go right at the end of that last thread. And this color here is a variegated green. And you can see how I kind of turned my thread so that it would look like plant life in the ocean. I love learning new things, and I know you guys do. That's why you watch YouTube videos. So you can learn new things and practice, and it's just fun. It's a lot of fun. Oh, I'm going to come over here this way because I want this one to shift toward this darker blue. Well, I had a fantastic time at my sister's home in Las Vegas. I told you in the last video that I was going to go there and we were going to just craft. So it was basically a crafting retreat with my sister, Sherry. We hated that our other sister, Carrie, wasn't able to come. So out of the three musketeers, basically, she missed out. But the next time we plan something, we'll include her, or she'll be able to come. So I think that's going to end it with this green. Yep. Okay. And so then I'm just going to tack it down, and then there. I think that came out good. I like that. So I'm going to continue on with a few more stitches, and I will be back with you. I hope you're following along and doing this little challenge. It's fun, learning something new, and we'll see you again in a little bit. Okay, I have finished all of my kelp or seaweed, and what I did is I took my tag, and with my disappearing ink pen, I've marked where the tag is going to be. And so what I'm going to do is just a straight stitch all around it. It may go over where this tag is, where it's going to be glued down, but that's okay. That's no big deal. I don't mind that at all. So I'm going to just do a straight stitch all around this, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, I have finished outlining what will be my tag, and I called this a straight stitch, but I don't think it is. I went through some of my books. One of them is called the Miniature Baltimore Album book, and I bought this in 1997 here. And as I look through it, it looks like they're calling it a back stitch. But then I found another book that I had bought. Let's see, when was this one? This is cool because the person that put together this book, she signed it, and I had forgot about that. I wish she had written the date in there. But oh, the Quilted Apple, the Quilted Apple, this was a fantastic shop in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh my gosh, beautiful fabrics. That's where I bought my Bernina. But yeah, this is 1992, so I probably bought it about that time. But in this book, she calls it an outline stitch. Sorry, I'm probably making you dizzy looking at that. But she goes through some stitches here. Let's see, wait, where is that? Sorry, yes, she calls it an outline stitch. So, if any of you know, actually, which stitch I actually did here, Please let me know. Okay, so what I've decided to also do is I have some of these sequins. I've had these forever. Don't even know where I bought them, but I thought I would put a few down at the bottom of this piece. So I'll put a dark one over here, and then a lighter one here, and then a dark one here. And what I will do is use a knot. What's that knot called? Oh my gosh. It's horrible getting old. French knot. It's horrible getting old. Anyway, a French knot to secure those down. Okay, I have sewn 2 of my little seashells down with French knots, and I'm going to put 1 more over here on this side. And so I have threaded my needle with a contrasting color of embroidery floss, and it is 3 strands. And so what I'm going to do is first just come up in the material about where I want my seashell to be. I bring it up, then I take my seashell, and you can see there are 2 holes. So I'm going to come up through the bottom one and place my seashell down. And I'm going to do this flat. I hope you guys can see it. I'm going to bring my thread over to the left, take my needle, wrap it around 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times. Bring it close to the seashell, and I'm going to bring this up so I can see it. And I'm just going to go back through that hole, pull my needle through, and then my French knot is right there at the base of that seashell. So I'm going to put 1 more in. I'm going to come up about where I want it to be. Lay it down flat so I can see what I'm doing. Bring my thread over to the left. Go around my needle 3 times. Bring it close and then go down back through that hole. And then that little knot just stays there. And there now, you can see where I have 3 little seashells, and I think that's enough for that. I could do some French knots up here, but I'm going to cut it out and see what it looks like and go from there. So I'm going to tack this down at the back, and I'll be back with you guys again. Just a second. Okay, let's cut this out, and I have my fabric scissors. You should always have a dedicated pair of scissors just for your fabrics, because they will stay nice and sharp. Don't use them to cut paper. And I don't think these were very expensive. They're not one of the higher end brands. Although I wish I had one of those higher end brands. And this is going to fray around the edge, which is fine, because maybe that will just add to the texture of the piece. Make it look more like the bottom of the ocean. And I'm just kind of rounding the corners. I don't care if it's absolutely perfect. Okay. Oh, I like that. That's cute. That's cute. Now let me pull out my tags and see which color of tag I want. I have 3 different, oh, this was the other thing I was going to do. I'm going to run my tag through this embossing folder. too. Okay, I forgot about that. So I've got 3 colors of tags. I'm going to do that in a minute, but let's see which one. I guess it doesn't really matter because the piece is a little bit bigger than the tag itself. No, I don't think I want stark white. I've been doing, let's see, this was the first one, and then this color was the second one. This one is the third one, so I could just repeat it. And like I said, I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine with this Stampin' Up! Embossing folder. This is brand new, and let's see what it looks like. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've ran it through my Gemini Junior embossing machine, and this is the sandwich I used to get it the way I wanted it to be impressed in, and oh, I love that. I think that is really, really nice. So I will have this on the back, and I will adhere this here, so you will see the back here. And then I might just add just a small little tag dangling here, explaining what it is, and go from there. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I love this. Oh, and I gotta put a little hole there. Okay, I'll be back in a minute and show you guys the final product. Okay, so what I've done to document on my tag the week is I cut another smaller tag, and I used this Stampin' Up! Delightful Tag Topper Punch, and I cut it only at, I think that's 1.5, well, let's just see. Yeah, it's 1.5 inch, because I want to be able to see most of this embossing here. And then I want to just apply it there. Now, I need a hole in my material. And I have this little tool that I've had for quite some time. It is Sunlit. I ordered it off of Amazon, and it has 3 different sizes of holes that it will punch. And let's just see which size fits here. Yeah, the bigger one will fit. So you can change the size of the hole. So what you do is you take it, you slide it into the top, and then you screw it on. And the other thing I did is I stamped the date, which is today that I've done this, and I used Pacific Point ink. So let me slide this back in here and then cover it up. There you go. And then I'm going to take my self-healing mat. I've got a real small one that well, my phone just turned off, and I'm not quite sure why, because the battery is fine. So I'm not quite sure where I left off, but I believe I was starting to use this little machine to punch my hole, and I'm going to use my self-healing mat, and I'm just going to lay it down. And I think I'm going to mark where I want that to go. So it's going to be glued onto the back, or adhered onto the back. So I want my little hole to be right here. Okay. And so I'm going to punch that. And what you do is you just take this little tool, you lay it over the area that you want punched out, and you just punch it up and down several times to create that hole. Look at that. Isn't that perfect? Oh, I'm so happy. This is a great little tool. And then you just unscrew it. I believe like I said, I bought this off of Amazon, and then you just push out the fabric. And I bought this for cardstock, but I love that it works perfectly. God, sorry. I got a little frog in my throat there. So it works perfectly with material. That's good to know. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so let's assemble everything. And now I'm wondering, do I want to put a little... I'm going to put some ribbon on that. And I might just leave it hanging so you can, I don't know what to do. I'm going to turn the camera off and think about this so you guys are not just sitting there listening to me hem and haw about what I'm going to do. Okay, so I made a decision. I tacked it down with a little bit of Fabri-Tac, because I didn't want to see the underside of the stitches, but I can see still that beautiful embossing there. And then I'm going to just lay this over the top, run some ribbon through it. And this is Balmy Blue. This was a celebration free thing that Stampin' Up! Had. And I'm just going to run that through there and through there, and then I will put it on my ring, but this will keep, oops, forgot how to do this. You got to double them up and then run them through. Do that like there. And then the two of them like that. There we go. Oops. Not all the way there through Hewitt. And then, oh, I'm just amusing myself once again. And then I'm going to just pull this ribbon up through here. Ah, yeah. Yeah, I didn't need to put something on there. I was wondering, you know, I was hemming and hawing about whether I should put some kind of eyelet there. I want to pull this so you sort of lays nice and flat. There we go. Kind of like that. Perfect. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. And then now I'm going to add it onto my tag ring. So remember, this was the first one. It was just white. Week 2 was a heart. Week 3 was scrappy. And week 4 is the fly stitch. Oh, I think this came out beautiful. Just beautiful. I think I might tie this into a knot so it doesn't come loose. So thank you for joining me for this little learning session for both of us or all of us on using and learning how to use the fly stitch or do the fly stitch. Pull that apart. Slide that in there. Oh my gosh, this is such a fun project. I love it. Sherry, my sister, have you started yours yet? Anyway, again, thanks for joining me, you guys, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.